Hey there, my name is Bill Selak. This is Bill Selak Talks. Have you made scallops before? We're going to get to talking about students and creativity and all that good stuff. But first, let's start with scallops. Have you made them in a pan? If so, you're going to say this with me, okay? Are you ready? If not, you're going to learn how to make scallops. Or as I recently learned, if you're near Boston, it's scallops. Scallops, I think. I don't know. I live in California. Once you clean your scallop or your scallop, you put whatever your fat's going to be, usually butter, a little bit of oil sometimes, and you go starting at 12 o'clock if you're looking at a clock, place them clockwise all the way around the clock. And what do? You leave them. You leave them. You're going to want to touch them. You're going to want to be like, oh, let's push this around a little bit, just like you're cooking up some ground beef or ground turkey or something, mixing around. No, you leave it. When it's done halfway, you flip it over and you leave it. Just like, if you're used to like cooking in a pan, every fiber of your being is going to be like, stir it around, mix it around. Let's, come on. And you don't. You leave it. So last Tuesday and the Tuesday before, I got to work with some 8th graders. They're developing a handful of skills before they start their kind of capstone summative project at our school. We call it the SIL, the Social Impact and Leadership Project. The class they're taking is Social Impact and Leadership. And so they're developing these skills along the way. So Kyle, middle school teacher, and I were talking about podcasting. And so it ended up being like this really cool lesson. It's part of Reach Beyond Block. And so on Tuesdays for middle school, from after lunch until school gets out, you get a nice chunk of time. If you cut it early, you get almost 2 hours with them. So we get this big chunk of time just to go into podcasting. Now, if you think about movies and the way you typically see teachers teach and students learn, what do you picture? I'm going to give you like 3 seconds to think about it. Are you picturing the teacher talking, the students in rows listening, right? Like, we know that's not good teaching. And particularly with technology, that's not a good use of technology. And if we talk about podcasting, that's not what we want to be doing with students. So because I didn't have them for months at a time, an entire class, I just get these kind of one-offs. Instead of doing like Google Classroom and pushing stuff out through like Apple Schoolwork, I just created a simple Google site, couple tips, couple tricks. Here's what you're going to do. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and 2 tutorials. Tutorials are super simple. It's a 1-take screen recording on my iPad in GarageBand of how to edit. Could not be a more simple workflow, right? Let me turn on screen recording. Let me walk you through what I'm going to do. You'll hear it. You'll hear me. Just, you don't know how to edit. Now you do, right? That's all the first video was. If they got to the very end of it, another tutorial. Here's how to write your own podcast theme song in GarageBand. My favorite way of knocking out a brand new theme song in under 5 minutes. Or, 5 days, whatever you want to do. Not the point. The point, though, is that we teed up. Here's what you're going to do. Practice just recording your voice, play it back, 1 quick edit, heads and the tails, and you're done. That should take you like 10 minutes. We didn't even tell them that, but in my head, that's what I'm hoping. And then about a 5-minute podcast, you're going to record it by yourself with 1, maybe with 2 people, and then you're going to edit it. If you don't know how to edit, watch the video. If you forgot how to edit, watch the video. If you forgot how to do the thing, watch the video, right? What was the thing? And you can just rewind it, right? In an hour and a half, in 2 hours, students did not ask me how to do a thing with editing in GarageBand on the iPad once. They asked me 0 times, how do you do this? So part of it is that GarageBand on the iPad is amazing. Part of it is that they had the resource, right? I took the time and thoughtfully made like a 5-minute tutorial. They watched it, and then they knew how to do all the things. So this is pretty amazing. And throughout the time, both last week and the week before, again and again. What did I want to do? Just like when I'm cooking the scallop, I wanted to get in there and be like, hey, how's it going? What are you doing? Can I see your work? Can I give you some tips? But what do they need in 8th grade? They need to know how to do the thing, and then they need the space to do the thing. So that's all I did. Every time I peeked in to see a group, we had them like in 3 different rooms, one bench over here, one table over there, like on a hill sitting. It was very like pastoral. I should have taken a picture. Didn't want to interrupt them. It was just like, all right, they're going. I can see that they're not goofing around, like running here or there. They seem to be on task. Let them cook. Let them do their thing. And I think in a lot of ways, this is what school can be for kids. Build kind of that barrier. Here are the bumpers. Go here and here. You got to get this done. Do this. Don't do that. And then just give them space to do it. Give them time to do it. Give them the support if they need it, but just really let them do it. And so I tried to do like the scallop approach to teaching. Set it up. You know what you're going to do. And then just let them do it. And you know what? It was really cool. It was deeply, deeply cool. And so this is great. All right. What, like, cool story, Bill, but what? So I'm going to talk about me, and then we're going to talk about you. Part of why this was so cool for me is because this lesson, this way of learning, this topic deeply aligns with my own values. So as an educator, like, and who I am really, not even educator, just me, Bill, my values, giving students, or not even students, just having moments of creativity is really important for me. Creating experiences in school where students can be creative is super important to me. All right, check. Got that, right? But here's what I'm noticing. I don't want you to walk away going, oh, cool, I should do podcasting with my students and give them space like Bill and like Scallops. Like, the goal is for everyone to be duplicates of me. I used to kind of think that, like, here's a cool lesson, you should do this lesson. But actually, I think what this is a good example of is like, what's something that matters to you as an educator a lot? What's that thing? What's that workflow? What's that value? And then my challenge for you today is to actually make that come alive with your students. Maybe there's students in your classroom, if you're a classroom teacher. Maybe it's some students at your school, if you're some type of administrator. If you're some type of administrator. But the idea, I think, it's not just, hey, podcast with your kids, or hey, do cool stuff with your students, or hey, give your students space. Although I deeply believe in all those things, I think the bigger picture would go like one level above this in like Inception style. I think it's actually about like, what's one thing that really matters to you, and how can you integrate that into the school day and then give students time to dig into that? Yeah, I like that. You know what feeling that kind of leaves me with? This is a super random thought, but here's how we're going to end it. It feels almost like, do you remember like those 1980s, as my kids call, like from the 1900s, the 1980s style like headbands, like the fuzzy headbands that you'd wear like when you played sports or tennis or something? I had one, and I don't know why I had one, but like the feeling I have when I talk about this and as I was experiencing it is like this headband, this like 80s warm fuzzy headband around my head that like, yeah, like it makes me happy, brings me joy, makes it like, I don't know, maybe like the warm and the fuzzies. Is that why I described it as a warm fuzzy headband? I wonder, like my ears are warm because it's, you know, it's a cool day for me today. I don't know. But I hope you get that feeling, that you can create an experience for students where they get that feeling where it's just like, oh yeah, that was a thing we did at school today. That was cool. It doesn't have to be podcasting, doesn't have to be creativity, doesn't have to be like, let's develop this modern skill that's not a 5-paragraph essay, right? All those things I think are great, but it's like, what's the thing that matters to you? And can you bring that to life with your students? That's what I wonder. It's time for some outro music. All right. I should have had a closing thought. I don't. I'm going to just wrap it up right now. Thanks for listening. My name is Selak. This has been me talking.